FM, 101.9 megahertz of life.
Good evening. It's that time again. It's Thursday evening, just gone 6:10. It's the 6th of March. Wow. 2025. And this is the ORT Business Show. And that song, which had the words, "I've been waiting for you all my life." Maybe that's what we've been waiting for with our guests. So tonight we're going to be speaking to Vincent Mosebe. He's a visionary, an entrepreneur, and the founder of Mosebe Enterprise. And he'll share his journey, and his journey is from tragedy to innovation. He's created an affordable, sustainable energy solution and bridging what we call the digital divide. So this is a portable solar power system, and it's quite interesting that I mentioned it just before the break, and we got a message from Carol that says, "I wonder if those people who have put a solar system on their shack will also have to register their solar system with Eskom." So we'll get to that a little bit later. Vincent, thank you and welcome.
It's a pleasure.
And I'll come and find out your whole story just now. But as is tradition, we start off with a general business story. And this story tonight is around a business model. And there's a story of a guy who used to make chariots. Many years ago, before there were motor cars, he made these chariots, and he made them for kings and queens. And they were wonderful chariots. And obviously, as the car started to being produced, his business slowed down a bit. And because his business slowed down, he decided to make it even more fancy. And he added in layers of gold and some jewelry. But sales kept dropping and dropping and dropping, and eventually he went out of business. And the issue with him is, in his mind, he was in the chariot business. And when the chariot business started to die, so did his business. If he had redefined his business, not as in the chariot business, but in maybe the transport business, then he could have reinvented himself and moved with the times. And that's an old story, but it still applies today. So Toyota, for instance, they say that their business is not in the motor car business. They've defined their business as mobility for all. Just think of that. You're either in the car business, then you're defining your business, I only make cars. And if people stop using cars or the cars evolve into different things, you can't evolve with it. Or you find it difficult to evolve with it because you haven't defined yourself broad enough. When they say mobility for all, it opens a huge variety of different things to them. It could be wheelchairs. It could be flying cars. It could be anything like that. So when you look at your business, how are you defining it? And you need to define your business quite broadly because of the world we live in today. Do you know that the first industrial revolution, between the first and the second industrial revolution, was over 100 years? So it took 100 years to move from the first industrial revolution to the second industrial revolution. We've now just moved into the fifth industrial revolution. And not so long ago was the fourth. It's taken between the fourth and the fifth only 8 years. So the world is moving at a much, much faster rate than it ever has before. If you look at banks, for instance, you look at it and, the world needs banking. It doesn't necessarily need banks. So when you're defining yourself as only a bank, maybe your business is going to be eaten by the retailers who are going to get into banking things. Kenya, for instance, was lagging behind, and then they jumped straight into the mobile banking, and 80% of all banking in Kenya is done on mobile banking, and they leapfrogged. So we need to have a look and see if we can learn from these different business models how to model things. And even if it's in general things, so for instance, I've got 2 books that I've published. The one was published by Penguin Books, and the other one was published by myself, self-publishing. They're 2 books, both written by me, but those are 2 complete business models. Let me explain to you how they're different. The book that was published through Penguin Books, I remember I took the script, I took it to Penguin, they read it, they said, yes, we'll publish the book. And I signed an agreement with him. And on day 2, after signing the agreement, there was a deposit. There was some money in my bank. And then they went and edited the book. They paid for it. I paid nothing. They designed the cover. They paid for it. They sent it to the printers. They paid for it. Everything that they did, distribution, getting into bookstores, Penguin paid for it. And I had a guaranteed amount of money in my bank account. I then, with the other book, decided to self-publish. So I signed an agreement with myself. And then I quickly looked into my bank account, and there was no money. And then I had to get an editor, and it cost me money. I had to print it, cost me more money. Had to design the cover, more money, etc., etc. So where the one I got money in and didn't have any more expenses, the other one I had expense after expense after expense. What's the key difference? The one I self-published, when I sell it, all the money is mine. With the other one, less than 10% of sales is mine. And I look at these 2 and I say these are 2 different business models. There's no right or wrong one. It depends on the circumstances that you're in. I look at the one that I did, the deal I did with Penguin Books, and I say that's like my book being an employee. It gets less money, but it has no risk. The self-publishing book is like an entrepreneur. I make lots more money if I make the sales, but I've got lots of expenses and I've got risks. And the risk is if I don't sell the book at all. So whatever you're doing in business, you can look and run your business in different ways, and these are different models. And maybe when I speak to Vincent, we'll unpack his model of the business and maybe even explore other models that one could follow. So that's the story for tonight. But the bigger story is that I'm sitting here looking at Vincent, a youngster of, I think he said 26 years old. He's got the little solar system in front of him, looks amazing. And I want him to tell us a little bit around the story. But Vincent invented and manufactured the solar power system. He's got 3 different versions of it. And he's even created some for cell phone towers. When things go down, it can power some of the cell phone towers. He's got a civil engineering background. And he got into this business because he actually himself experienced a shack fire. He actually got burnt a bit in the fire. And he realized there needs to be another solution where people are using this. And Vincent told me, and I was absolutely astounded, that there are on average 30 shack fires in South Africa every single day. Vincent has won a couple of awards with what he's created, and he actually uses the funding and the money that he makes from those rewards to keep the business going. So he builds these things from scrap pieces of electronics, and he'll tell us about that. And then he'll also talk and share with us his journey into now cryptocurrency and how he's funding it using cryptocurrency. So Vincent, we're going to listen to your story, but just after the ad break.
High FM, your station of choice since 2008.
Welcome back. I'm David Zeidel. This is the ORT Business Show, and I'm going to be talking to Vincent Mosebe about the solar systems. By the way, just that little story that I told you about the different models, if you like those kind of stories and you want to listen to some more, I have on YouTube a channel that says Random Thoughts of a Business School Lecturer. So if you're interested, you can Google that and listen to some of those stories. Just a little bit about ORT. What does ORT do? They don't just support businesses, they build success stories. They are a dynamic mentorship and training program that empowers entrepreneurs, business owners with skills, guidance, and the networks that they need to grow and thrive and create jobs. ORT has helped literally thousands of entrepreneurs turn challenges into opportunities. So whether you're a startup, a growing business, or an industry leader, ORT provides the tools to take you to the next level. So why don't you join ORT? You can contact Helene or Tracy on 011 728 7154. That's 011 728 7154, or visit ortjet.org.za. Vincent, welcome.
It's an honor to have me.
Great that you're here. And just fill us in with the story with the shack fire, and how did you come about creating the systems that you've got?
Okay, it's quite an interesting story if you ask me. So I grew up in one of many underserved communities, the community of Vrygrond in Cape Town. And what I discovered is that the majority of the people around my community and the surrounding communities often do not have access to reliable and stable energy solutions. So in return, or the alternative, are either illegal connections, paraffin lamps, or candlesticks, which are often the main leading cause of shack fires. So in 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, my room caught fire and I sustained some burns. And it was this traumatic event that actually led me to start doing research as to what were all these shack fires about, or what is causing them. And it all boiled down to be energy poverty. So I was like, okay, what can I do as an individual? Because the government, they're doing what they can, but also failing us in return. Will I be another bystander and complain and point fingers, or will I take action? So I was like, you know what? Instead of waiting for the light at the end of the tunnel, let me be the light in the tunnel. And started doing some research, and it was through that research that I discovered that the world, as much as we're trying to advance tech, we're also destroying the planet through mining for raw materials and resources. So one of the things that drew my attention was the mining and improper disposal of lithium-ion batteries. And in this day and age, almost all our devices have lithium-ion batteries. So the mining process alone causes water shortage, and the improper disposal of lithium-ion batteries causes soil pollution and soil degradation. So I was like, you know what? The majority of people just use devices and throw them away. How about giving those devices, the batteries, a second life? And instead of just using it for myself, how about putting lights in someone's home who never had electricity? And that alone opens up a whole chain reaction of things and opportunities that they would have never had if they did not have electricity. So that was my train of thought. Then put in the work, got a lot of no's when I tried to introduce the idea to people.
So did you go and take the ideas to people, or did you build it first? Did you see that it could work, or did you just try sell the idea first?
Well, first I wanted to prove to people and to myself, because in the community that I grew up, there's so many limiting beliefs that you cannot mount to anything. And I was like, okay, I have this idea, but with my own limiting beliefs, I was like, it won't work. And a friend of mine pushed me to, he told me, you know what, you have nothing to lose if it works. Or, you have nothing to lose if it doesn't work, but you have everything to lose if it could work, but you didn't give it a shot.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, I'll give it a shot, and produced the first prototype, tested it out, did some on-the-ground research, asked people if they would love this or if this would be useful to them, and we got a lot of positive feedback from it. So.
And your ability to make it, was it you already had an engineering degree?
Not at all, funny enough. So that just goes to show that you don't need the qualifications to actually do something, all it takes is the heart and the willingness to.
So how did you research it to learn how to do it if you didn't? I thought you had an engineering degree, but you didn't. So how did you go about doing it?
It's been a lifelong journey from childhood, making my own toys, breaking them, trying to see how things work. So I'm just a curious person by nature, and if I'm curious about a certain thing, I go on the internet and research. And lucky enough for us, we have all these AIs that can assist you in almost anything. So you don't have to be an engineer, like you said, but you could learn from other engineers, and that's what I do. So yeah, that's how I acquire my knowledge.
So you created this, you tested it in the market, and people liked it. And I must tell you, Vincent had brought one of these units with, and I know this is not TV, but it's a small little unit. It looks very well constructed. It looks very professional. It doesn't look like it's a homemade kit. Have you gone away from just making it yourself and now manufacturing it? Have you got manufacturing facilities to manufacture it?
At the moment, we do not have any manufacturing facilities, though it would be great to have them, because if we can have a space to operate and expand, do mass production, it also means that we're creating job opportunities for the fellow South Africans. So we are looking towards that, and God willingly, it comes to fruition. At the moment, it's just me and 3 other guys that we are doing this. We are making them from home. So yeah, that's where we are at the moment.
Wow. So take me through the process of how it works. Let's say you took this unit and you gave it to someone, how would it work, and what's involved in getting it to work?
It doesn't require much. You don't need any electrical or engineering background. It's basically plug and play. As you can see on the top here, there's a switch which is labeled. So you put that on and it will show you the reading there. LED lights to indicate that it's on. Here on the top as well, you have 3 inputs. The first one's for the solar panel, light bulb, or maybe a Wi-Fi router, and here any DC outlet that you might plug it in. On the side is a cooling fan. Here's the built-in inverter switch.
When you say an inverter switch, so what does that then store the energy if you're getting it from the sun?
Not quite. There's a built-in lithium-ion battery pack inside, which was also made from refurbished cells from old laptop batteries and e-bike batteries. So the inverter basically converts the DC into AC. For example, maybe your laptop needs to be charged. You can't connect that with the direct USB, unless the newer ones, the Type-C. Then yes, you can connect it here with the 2 Type-C ports. The older versions, is a 3-pin port here, as you can see.
So there's a port on the actual unit where you can just put a normal plug and you plug it in.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can connect it there, and you can power your simple appliances, maybe a laptop, camera, a monitor. It would work, and anything you can literally think of. It's a 300-watt inverter, so it's not big, but it is an ideal, like something portable where you can take it on the go. You have power on the go.
So if somebody was using this only for lights, so instead of as you said, the candles or something that's risky that could burn the place down, if I plugged a light into there, how long would that last for if it's just for the light?
If it's just for the lights, I've tested this, and on a single charge with the light bulbs that are using, it's LED DC light bulbs, 9 watts. It lasted for over 36 hours on continuous usage.
36 hours?
Put it on and leave it on and last it for 36 hours.
So you could put 3 of those lights on and it would last the whole night, basically?
The whole night, yes.
So you could really light up the place, which is quite amazing.
Yeah.
So let me unpack a little bit rather than the product. I want to unpack your mind if I can.
Go ahead.
So you said you were always very curious and you unpacked things and looked at things. And you came up with this idea of, okay, I'm going to be the light.
Yeah.
How do you go from that thought and getting it to work to now creating really a business without, I don't know what did you research on the internet how to run a business? Or how do you go about doing that without any experience or knowledge?
So I was fortunate enough to be part of this other organization in Cape Town called the Sosa Foundation. So they were running an entrepreneur program. And it was through that program that I was now introduced to other opportunities, like to join the ORT SA program, where they helped us and teach us more about the business side of things. Because it's one thing having a product or having an idea, and it's another thing running a business. There's so many complex things that you need to know, whereby if you're just on the outside and looking at it, you'd be like, it's overwhelming. But they walked with us on the journey and helped us in every way possible to actually get us compliant and being able to level the playing field so that you can compete with other well-established businesses.
So you went through and through ORT, you developed that, and then I believe you won an award for this.
Yes.
What was the award? Tell us a little bit about it.
So last year we entered the SAB Foundation Innovation and Social Impact Award competition, and we were fortunate enough that our application was accepted, and we went through the entire process, through the pitching competition in front of judges and all that, and we did not win the first prize, but we are grateful that we came third, and with that comes mentorship and a whole lot of other benefits. It's not just them giving you the prize money and tell you go, but they also are willing to walk with you on the journey and help you where you need the most help. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, we had a session whereby they teaching us on how to manage our books and all those things. And if someone who has never been in business, you don't know anything about taxes, you don't know anything about SARS, but if you do not do the proper procedures or take the necessary steps, those things will always come back and bite you. So it's through organizations like that I am actually learning a lot about business, and I am grateful to be part of those things.
And how do you sell it? What's your model of making it and selling it? So how many can you make, let's say, in a month?
Yeah.
How many units do you think you can make?
Single-handedly, I can make about 30.
And there are 3 of you. So you make, let's call it 100 units. And are you selling all of those units, or how do you now sell it? Or is somebody busy selling it on your behalf?
At the moment, we are not well established in the market. Let me not lie. So we are in the pilot phase, and we're in the process of becoming fully compliant. We reached out to the SABS, and they told us they cannot regulate us because we do not fall under any of their specifications and classifications, due to the fact that the product is locally manufactured. They only regulate the imported things. So we are in the process of trying to find an accredited lab that can test the device. We know it works, we know it's safe, but just for the peace of mind of the end user, they have to know that, okay, this product is certified, it is safe, I can use it in my home. So we're in that process, but for those who are willing to purchase it, they have to understand that it's in a pilot phase. We're still going through the process of becoming fully compliant. So that's where we are.
Okay, and if I can ask you, how much does a unit sell for?
So the one that you see right in front of you, it's about 3.5 with a panel.
3,000
watt panel.
3,500
with a 100-watt panel.
Okay. Yeah. And the market that you're selling it into, that I would think would be very expensive.
Yes.
So are a lot of people taking it up or not really?
They are showing interest, but where we're falling short is that we haven't started mass producing, so our production costs are quite high, whereby if we were to start mass producing, would bulk purchase, and that would enable us to drop our resale prices quite significantly. So with that, we're not making any excuses. We are looking for alternatives like having payment plans and so forth. So we are looking into that and the legal side of things, because we can't just say, here's the device, pay us per month. There are some legal steps that we need to take, and that's where we are trying to go through the necessary and the proper loops. And yeah.
So I feel like I'm I'm sitting on Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, where somebody is saying, for a certain percentage, you can buy my business. If somebody said that they wanted to invest into your business and take a certain share of it, would you be open to something like that, or is it too early to look at that?
I would be open to it on strict basis that our mission and vision aligns. Because I've had people who approached me wanting a percentage of the business, but then they wanted to deviate me from making the impact that I wanted and focus on a totally different customer segment. When I started this business, it was not just about making money, it was about changing people's lives. Like our slogan says, illuminating hope, transforming lives. I would like to impact other people's lives. Because I myself am a living testament that it's in those places where people do not look at, that's where talent is. And one day I would like another Vincent or another Einstein, another Elon Musk to come out of those unfavorable circumstances, those underserved communities. So, my focus is to make the impact that I initially envisioned. The money is good, but the impact is, I would like to invest more in the people themselves.
So I think that's amazing, because if you got a bigger purpose, then you got more chance of success. And we've had a few guests on the radio show over the last while, and the message that keeps coming through is don't chase the money. If you're doing good, the money will be the reward. And I think it's amazing to hear. And it's easy to say that when you've got money, but when you're still struggling along, and to stick to your purpose is amazing. And it shows that that's really a purpose that you're following and you believe in it. And I think I must encourage you to stick to it as much as you can.
Thank you.
I spoke about business models a little bit earlier. Another model of maybe how this could work is if maybe you got a big corporation involved who would buy all the units from you, maybe brand it with their whatever their company is, and give it into whoever needs it. So either give it away or give it at a much lower price, because then they would get the advertising or the mileage or the BE mileage or the BE points or whatever it is through the product. Have you looked at different business models like that?
I have considered that, and with that, like I previously said, we need to be compliant with certain things. And in our efforts of becoming compliant, I've just completed a SAPVIA course, so just waiting for the results to come out. So if that does come out to be that we are compliant and we do receive the SAPVIA certificate, that's a footstep in the right direction. Because now if you were to install maybe a solar panel on someone's roof, we can install it with confidence, and they can also have a peace of mind that these are accredited installers. My house won't catch fire after they leave. And those corporates also wouldn't want to take on a project whereby they give out maybe, for example, 100 of these devices. They put in people's homes, and after that they catch fire, or that would damage their reputation and their image. So we are doing what we can. But if people were to approach us, we do not mind. We would embrace that, and we don't have to be the face of it, as long as the devices end up in the homes of those who need it most. It's not about who's on the front cover or whoever. For me, it's all about the impact.
Fantastic. And the amazing story is that you open to these different options, but you're sticking to what you want, and you want to create that you want to be the difference, and creating that. So if there's any business out there where you think you might want to partner with somebody like this, you can hear the amazing ethics and the desire to make a difference, which is incredible in our country. If you're wondering who I'm talking to Vincent Mosebe. Created a portable solar power station, and is hoping to make a difference in the lives of people and actually to light up their lives. And we're going to continue the conversation after the ad break.
High FM, your station of choice since 2008.
Welcome back. I'm David Zeidel. I'm talking to Vincent Mosebe. This is the ORT Business Show. And we're talking about his business where they manufacture portable solar power stations. And just during the break, Vincent was talking about something about the digital divide. And I wasn't quite sure what he's referring to. So do you want to tell me what is this digital divide?
Well, in a nutshell, I would say having access to the internet. And with that, there's a whole lot of things that comes with having access to the internet. Education opportunities, employment, and so forth. And the majority of the people do not have that access. And data nowadays is quite expensive. So my company partnered up with another company from another township who also trying to impact and better the lives of others. So we partnered up, and our partnership is basically a hand-in-glove type of partnership whereby they provide the internet and we provide the power. So even those people who never had electricity can now have internet in the homes with the help of our devices, of course. So students can now, they won't have to go out there at internet cafes, pay a ridiculous amount of money for maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes of internet. They can have internet in their own homes. So it's those type of things that keeps me going.
And I love the analogy of hand in glove, because you're giving the power really back to the people.
Exactly.
Where it's the power and then the internet together. So you're giving them the full solution.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And then you also, there's something that says here that we need to hear about your exciting journey into cryptocurrency and your vision for economic empowerment through technology. Just explain the cryptocurrency point of it.
Okay, so as much as people may try to deny or fight the fact that we are moving into a cashless society, in one way or the other, it will happen. So it's better for us to actually be prepared than get slapped in the face when they actually drop the cash. So with that, I decided to dive into the world of crypto, and we developed myself, developed our own cryptocurrency called the M token. So the whole purpose behind the token at the moment is to encourage people to start recycling. As things are at the moment, and from what I've seen, I'm speaking for myself and from my own personal experience, is that recycling centers are the only ones that benefits, not the people bringing the recycled materials. I've seen a recycling center whereby people brought scrap and they gave them eggs in return, which is not a fair trade. So what I'm trying to do is encourage people to recycle. So basically, for example, if you recycle a battery pack, a lithium-ion battery pack, you get a crypto. You can either trade it, exchange it, or do whatever it is that you please with it. So at the moment we have listed it on Binance Smart Chain, and we are working on listing it on Pancake Swap. So it's still a journey, still a long way to go, but we have started.
But if you're on Pancake Swap, don't you need those eggs from the other place to make the pancakes?
Unfortunately not.
I mean, I'm listening to you and I'm like blown away. I'm astounded. Like, I see myself as generally well educated, and I don't know half the things that you're talking about, especially with the cryptocurrency. And I mean, you're expanding way beyond most people. Is this a desire that you always have for knowledge? Where does this desire to learn and venture into places that other people are scared to venture into?
Well, the advantage that I have right now is that I haven't grown, like the business hasn't grown to an extent whereby we are fearful of taking risks. So while we're still small, trying to explore in all these different departments whereby we know, okay, if we fail, we'll learn from the mistake and it won't really cost us much. Whereby bigger corporates maybe diving into crypto, they're scared that, okay, what if it doesn't work? That's millions down the drain. So we are trying to maximize what we have, even though we are lacking the necessary resources to do what we want to do, but we're using whatever we can get our hands on and getting the job done, basically. So if the crypto work, not if, it will work, this will also be a way to empower the underserved communities. Because now, let's say, for example, you take your 100 Rand to the bank, you put in fixed deposit, whatever, the return on it is quite low. Whereby if you take the crypto that we developed, let's say you invested for 180 days, you get about 45% on top of what you put in. It's called stacking the crypto.
So who pays that extra 45%?
It's a complex thing. So how do I break it down in simple form?
If you stack it on top of each other, it sounds like a pyramid. It sounds like a pyramid scheme.
No, it's not. It's what's currently happening with the blockchain and all those things. So I'll send you a breakdown of how everything works and stuff.
I'd love to learn about this. So you've created the crypto token that people can buy and they can trade.
Yes.
But it can go up and down. Is that right? Or is it only goes up?
Well, the good thing with the crypto is that unlike the traditional currency whereby it's detected by someone else that, okay, the rand is worth this much, with a crypto, the people holding the crypto can decide and vote that, okay, we feel that this crypto can be worth so much. And through that vote, they can detect the price. So it's not someone else, I come to you and give you this and tell you this is this so much, even though, for example, let's say Africa, we have all the resources, gold, what, but the African currency is quite low compared to the overseas currency. Why is that? So we want to, grab the power back and empower ourselves. We call the shots, we detect where this goes, and that's the whole idea behind the cryptocurrency.
And is it limited on how many tokens you'll be printing in its lifetime, or can you just keep printing more and more tokens?
No, there will be a limit, because things that are easily accessible, they lose value. So at the beginning, I'm planning on maybe minting starting off maybe with 500,000 coins. Then over time, they get burned, and the scarcity of the token increases its value. So yeah.
And how do you mine it? I mean,
blockchain.
Okay,
yeah.
So you need, but you need the power to be able to mine it.
Not quite.
Huh?
Not quite. The best part about it is that I built it on top Ethereum, so I don't need all those fancy computing powers and all those huge facilities. Yeah, leveraged.
So it's like a version of Ethereum.
Yes.
Which is already, it's got its own audience, etc.
Yeah, but this is more of a South African version.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So what I want to ask you next is related to your parents and your background, and how did you grow up? As you said, you even said it, you said not if, but when. Like that confidence that things will work. So I'm going to ask you about that, but after the break.
High FM, 101.9 megahertz of life.
Welcome back to the ORT Business Show. I'm David Zeidel. I'm talking to Vincent Mosebe, and he's explaining the portable solar power stations and cryptocurrencies, and how he developed something from very little background. And you wouldn't think that somebody who comes from a shack somewhere can think of this and create this, because you're limited to the resources that you have and the ability that you have. By the way, if you have any questions that you want to ask, you can WhatsApp us on 061 895 1019. That's 061 895 1019. If you want to ask Vincent anything or have any interesting questions for him. But Vincent, just before the break, I said to you, you come from a sector where we wouldn't expect this to come from that. Just unpack, where do you think it comes from? Is it from your parents? Is it from your grandparents? Where does this ability come from? Were your parents in business for themselves? And or this entrepreneurial spirit, and also this confidence that you have that no matter what you do, it will work?
Okay, so I would say the entrepreneur side came from my mom. She was running creche and all that. The confidence came about life experiences, and also what my mom taught me, that the only person that can make or break you is you, not an external person. And that also, from the religious point of view, that the tongue is a very powerful thing. Whatever you speak can manifest into the physical world. So I tend to watch what I say most of the times, not always, but most of the times. And speaking negatively about yourself or about your own life will attract the negativity. So I should, whatever I do, even if I am not sure of what I'm doing, I do it with confidence, and surely enough, it always work out. So I believe the man above is working overtime.
Wow, that's amazing. And you said you grew up in Cape Town.
Yeah.
Were you ever affected by, we think of Cape Town and we think of the gangs. Were you ever approached to join a gang? Were you ever, have you been affected by that in any way?
Well, it's not a choice one gets to make when it comes to the gangsterism and things. It will affect you either directly or indirectly. And I would say I was lucky enough that I had a very strict parent who would have not tolerated me being part of a gang. Some of my friends that I grew up with, went to school with, others are either in jail, others died, others are still in the gang trying to get out, but they can't come out. So I would just say it's God's grace that I did not fall in that line or end up where all my friends ended up. It's not that I'm special or anything. I just believe that God has a purpose for me, and He has put me on the path, and He will do whatever it is for me to fulfill that purpose. So I can't really say much about the gangs. Yeah.
And your purpose at the end, you said it's to help people, but
Yeah.
if you had to shine a light on that purpose, just unpack why you're doing this. Just unpack that purpose for us. What's driving you?
Well, I would say growing up not having much actually puts you in a position whereby it gives you a heart of wanting to help the next person. Well, that's for me, because I've seen the disadvantages of what people go through, and the implications of what not having energy brings. So if God has put me in the position, or gave me the idea, because I mean, He could have given the idea to anybody else, but He chose me, and for that I believe there's a purpose, or there's a reason behind it, and I won't be selfish and just try to make money off it, but rather try to give back as well, because I mean, who knows what that giving back can do to the next person's life. So yeah.
So you want to pay it forward, and hopefully the next person, as you said, you'll create the next Vincent, and they'll create the next Vincent, and we'll become invincible. I think it's quite amazing that you actually tried something that didn't exist. You created it yourself. For the listeners over there, I promise you, if you're listening to me and you look at this device, you would not think that it's made non-professionally. It looks very professional. It looks amazing. And the fact that it can run 3 light bulbs for the whole night and light up someone's life is incredible. So Vincent, thank you for being on the ORT Business Show. And one last question to you. Your vision for the future for Vincent. What will it look like in 5 or 10 years' time?
That is quite interesting. So what I envision is to have our own Mosebe Academy, whereby we groom young minds into becoming the next big thing, innovators. Because we have this misconception, or this information that is being given to us from a young age, that we as Africans, we are only consumers. And I would like to change that. I would love to change that type of mindset, that we can also be producers. We can also become manufacturers. Because if you look down the history lane, Egypt and all those great civilizations, they're the ones who taught the rest of the world mathematics, astrology, and all those things. But what happened between that time and now, whereby we just forgot everything and we are just consumers, cannot produce anything? So I would like to maybe, I would say, reverse that type of mindset or whatever happened, and make the Africans remember who they are. That we can be great things, we can do great things, we can be great people, and we can innovate. So there are a lot of things that I've envisioned, or I'm envisioning in the next 10 years. Another one will be released in about 2 months. We should be releasing our own AI. It's called Lumina. So like ChatGPT, but this is a different version. This one you can video call it and have conversation like you would have with a fellow human being. So we are working in the background, but we just like to have hands who can help us take this thing to the next level. Yeah.
Wow. And if we have more people like you, then we will live in a better world. So thank you for what you're doing, and keep going with it. And please remember us and let us know how it's going. I'm David Zeidel. This was Vincent Mosebe, and this has been the ORT Business Show.